Hello everyone, it's Reese here, and you join me for another reaction video. And I was sent this video. I was asked to react to something that was sort of very up to date. And I sent this video. I sent this article on WhatCulture about 20 upcoming horror movies that could save franchises. So I'm a big WhatCulture fan. I watch all the videos online. I'm a big fan of the horror ones. I like Who Culture. Um, yeah, so I thought I'd react to this, just see, A, to give myself a sense of what's coming out. I'm trying to think of sort of 20 upcoming horror movies in franchises. So this is an article by Jack Pooley, and this is linked in the description below, so make sure to check it out. Horror being the genre that just keeps on giving. Um, Natural ebb and flow, blatant sequels, reboots, etc. So yeah, let's have a look. Let's skip on. So Paranormal Activity 8. Inexplicably there are 8 of them. It's I mean I don't even yeah. So I've never been a Paranormal Activity fan, not in the slightest. Um I've seen all of them and sort of they're all bafflingly the same thing apart from the most recent one here, Next of Kin, that they discussed. Even Jason Blum admitted it was terrible. Um apparently apparently there's some sort of worthwhile thing going to happen. This is a film that really, I mean, should have been a one and done anyway. I mean, none of them are particularly brilliant. But yeah, this is not something that overly speaks to me at all. I see the director of Undertone, which I watched a couple of days ago and was genuinely sort of quite affected by, as I'm going to discuss in my April roundup video whenever that comes, is directing. So maybe there'll be something there, but this is not something of sort of any real excitement or interest to me. Um, yeah, let's skip ahead. So the Mummy 4. Wow, anyone who knows me knows I'm a major fan of the Mummy films. Absolutely love them. The Mummy Returns is one of my favorite films. I might do a video on my favorite films if people are interested. Um, yeah, I love them, and sort of it's impossible to go wrong. If they do, so this is going to be directed by the Radio Silence guys. It is gonna have Brendan Fraser back, Rachel Weisz back, John Hannah back. There are rumours that sort of Arnold Vosloo playing Imhotep will return. Patricia Velasquez, I've not pronounced that right, as Akasan Namoon. Um, it would be fantastic. I would absolutely love this film. I hope it goes the whole lot and you get Alan Silvestri back for a big grand score, do all that sort of stuff. I would greatly enjoy that. This is something I know and am very excited about, and this is very much so. What's next on this? Scream 8, yeah. Yeah. So Scream 7, I think, is sort of the highest grossing entry of the franchise. And despite the fact that it was effectively, I think it's generally agreed, the worst film in the franchise. Um, it's, yeah, it's a bizarre sort of, I don't understand how they can keep pumping them out. And based on, I would, we'll see how it goes. They've been, it feels like Scream's in a bit of sort of an identity crisis, really. In that, where do you even go anymore? Sort of the most recent one kind of abandoned meta commentary totally for kind of just what sort of AI stuff that wasn't dug upon, sort of AI and nostalgia. There's lots of interesting stuff that could come. Um, but it feels like Scream. We've seen a lot of Screams, and it's hard to really see where uh, where the franchise will go. There's new writers involved, so maybe they'll bring something in. Who knows? I'm not overly excited about this at the moment, I must say. Mike Flanagan's The Exorcist. So I put out a video last week um about sort of the Exorcist franchise, and it's a grim franchise, right? It's again, another one that shouldn't be a franchise at all. Believer was what a sort of painfully bad horror film. Um, there's a lot of sort of faith meant to be attached to this, in that sort of Mike Flanagan is directing it. But again, I don't see what you would do with The Exorcist again. It's sort of this is again not really one that I'm particularly fussed or excited about because it's a well that has really run dry. Um, Maniac Cop remake. um, Yeah, so I've not seen Maniac Cop. I know it's sort of like a sort of a cult classic. But yeah, I mean Nicholas Winding Refn as directing this might be something that's worth a look. I imagine I'll watch it, but I have no real attachment to the franchise or the IP, so who knows? Saw 11. Yeah, bizarre. So sort of Saw again, sort of its 10th installment was the most popular and most well received one. Who saw that one coming? Um, it's So if they're going to sort of pick up on the story, they left sort of a sort of few major cliffhangers for Saw 10. If they pick up on that, that might be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what they do. It says the original creators are getting involved. Of course, sort of they sort of got a sort of franchise best performance out of Tobin Bell as well as Jigsaw. So if they kind of run with the roots of the story established in Saw 10, or if they return to almost kind of the sort of procedural style that sort of characterized the first few, this could be really good. I'd be, sort of the 11th entry of a horror franchise is never normally a good sign. Based on the strength of 10, I'm sort of positive, cautiously optimistic here. Zach Cregger doing Resident Evil. I don't get how people struggle to make a Resident Evil film. I say this, I suppose the issue is that they sort of insist on sort of bringing all the video game stuff, which Zach Cregger is not going to do. Um, and that I think that feels a really positive sort of point. That feels a really positive plan for the franchise, to sort of not force it to be a Leon Kennedy or a Jill Valentine or whatever story. In the same way that the first Paul W.S. Anderson film was sort of, it was an umbrella, but kind of in that mansion, but not really attached. It was when it got too sort of Easter eggy and franchisey that it became. Um, a bit wieldy. Zach Cregger of Barbarian and Oscar-winning Weapons. So again, might be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what it does. Um, I've seen the Anderson films. I've not seen Welcome to Raccoon City. Um, we'll maybe give it a go. We'll see how it goes. Cloverfield 4. Yeah, again, another really weird franchise in that sort of it's three films, none of which are really linked to each other. Um, I don't get. So, the film is going to be a sequel to the first film. I think that 10 Cloverfield Lane with John Goodman is probably the best film of the franchise. The sci-fi, the Cloverfield Paradox, the third one was sort of bad. Um, but I think what made the original Cloverfield quite effective was sort of that you didn't really see the monster, that it was kind of ambiguous. Um, so I don't know what I think of this one. Again, sort of, if you're gonna make a sort of an effective sort of monster film, does it need to have that branding on? I don't know. I do not know. Grave Encounters reboot. Um, yeah, Grave Encounters. I mean, this is a film if you've seen it, sort of as it says there. Without picturing its grainy night vision aesthetic, without picture on the video there. Um, This is a. I mean, I think those two films are very effective. As found footage goes, they are very, very effective ones, and kind of the way that both films play with space. So it's sort of a paranormal team investigating an asylum. Um, I really like them. They're not films I particularly revisit because I don't overly love found footage anyway. Um, I don't know what a reboot would do, um, but. And hopefully, if it was rebooted, it wouldn't lose the charm of the original. Again, I might give it a go. So, Grave Encounters is something that I found, I think, on the Horror Channel or something late one night, and that'd probably be where I would see it rather than sort of massively delving to the cinema for Grave Encounters. But maybe positive optimism here as well. Insidious, The Bleeding World. So a new Insidious film coming. I feel like if they knew this was going to be a franchise, they wouldn't have killed Elise in the very first one. Spoilers. Um, so, from what I understand, I briefly heard about this, is that it's going to divorce the. They're sort of going to move away in the manner of the third one. They're sort of not going to focus on the family, what are they, the Daltons. I had in my head, is Mandy Moore going to be involved and Kumail Nanjiani? It may or may not be the case. I don't really know. I don't mind the Insidious films. They do what they need to do. Apart from the sort of the key one, which I didn't love. But again, I don't know it'll save the franchise, but it might sort of deliver what you're after from the franchise. And Friday the 13th Part 13. Oh my god, yeah. Franchise that has sort of been dead and buried for quite a long time. There's the Camp Crystal Lake thing that's meant to be coming soon, and Linda Cardellini as Pamela Voorhees. Um, the thing, so and this is controversial to say, especially on my part, because I sent out a call for papers trying to sort of gather scholarly interest in a Friday the 13th book, but not many of these films are actually that good. I don't know why sort of Jason Voorhees is so valued, um, because none of the films are really that brilliant, even for what they are. So I'm not excited about a new Friday the 13th film because, I mean, the batting average in that franchise is poor, really, really poor. Scary movie. This is one, yes. So I love horror and I love parody. The scary movie films, I've greatly enjoyed them all. Even the fifth one, they're sort of a bit um less strong. Um, I'm gonna go see this, and I'm sure I'm gonna love it. It is fantastic. It's nice to see sort of a resurgence in spoof humor as well. So the new Naked Gun coming last year. This one coming here. Um, I'm very excited for this. The second Spaceballs as well has just finished filming at the time of recording. Um, this is one I'm very excited for, one I'm looking forward to. And as I have a book coming out later this year on horror parody and stuff, this is something that's very much in my wheelhouse, sort of, both academically and personally. Alien Romulus sequel. Um, yeah, they saved the franchise, but sort of Romulus wasn't overly franchisey anyway, was it? Um, yeah, again, it's baffling sort of how so many people struggle to make the Alien films land. I don't overly get it. Um, I Fede Alvarez penning the script is an encouraging sign, especially as he was involved with this one. Um, I don't know. I'm I'm torn on this. I feel like there's not really been any sort of good Alien films for quite a while. And overly love Romulus. Um, we'll see. We'll see on that one. I'm gonna put a pause on that one. Urban Legend reboot. So, you may recall if you've seen my ranking the 90s slasher videos, that I'm sort of quite kind to the Urban Legend films. I like them. I think they really do the job as one of the sort of post screamer teen slashers go. I think it's really good. I think it still works quite well now. The idea that this is taking on sort of internet urban legends, I think would be really really interesting. And if they can do it, if they can sort of do justice to sort of the kind of myths and stories that come out of the internet world, this will be a really, really interesting film, as well as, of course, delivering with gore. They need sort of a chase sequence on the lines of the one with Tara Reid in the first one, and if they can do that, that would be fantastic. That would be something that I would very much like to see. Um, the Purge 6. um, are these still coming? Um, so again, Purge film. I don't really have any sort of attachment to these. Um, this is a franchise that has been pushing. Um, it says here it's bringing back Frank Grillo. Sort of expand the it's focusing on the purge spreading worldwide. That feels. I'm sort of reading this with no real excitement, shall I say? And this is not um filling me with any sort of real enthusiasm to go see this. The Purge was, I think, a franchise that again sort of should probably have stopped earlier than it did. Happy Death Day to us. So I like the two Happy Death Day films. So these are sort of Groundhog Day-esque slashers. Um, the second one goes a bit more sci-fi, which is less good. I like the idea of the again, these are fun. It's oh, what's her face? Jessica Rose as a tree, who's sort of a really interesting lead. It'd be cool to see what they do with it. This is I say these two films are good fun for what they are, and I'm I'm interested in the third one, definitely. For the Amityville horror reboot, of course. Absolutely, of course. Um, yeah, the franchise that is so many films, it's untrue because, of course, no one owns a place. Um, yeah, we don't need this. That's all I can say. We don't need this. It could say franchise. This is not a film that needs to be a franchise. This is a film that just let this story go. Is all I can say. Let the story go. The Howling remake. Um, the Howling. So I wasn't aware there was a Howling franchise, especially one of 8 films. That is something. There's a thing of sort of we've not really had any good werewolf films for quite a while. You have what trying to think. Probably Dog Soldiers is probably something that's the last good werewolf film, and they're not monsters like zombies or vampires that crop up as often as as they might do. You'd think. Um, that Guy Busick is writing might be I mean, yeah, that might be an encouraging sign. I think if they manage to produce another good werewolf film, there are a few good werewolf films, then that could be great. 28 years later, part 3. Yeah, so it's funny because after many, many delays, my partner and I watched the Bone Temple last weekend at the time of filming. She ducked out partway through on account of the sort of a sequence in a barn that, if you've seen, I won't go into. Um, I liked it, um, but yeah, this feels like this was sort of selling it on the Cillian Murphy character. Um, I don't know. I don't have that attachment to 28 Days Later, so that is less of a sell to me. But then, sort of the way the first the 28 Years Later ended was also a bit. I have issues. Things with the second film that I'm going to get into again with my April review when it comes. Um, I suppose I will probably see this franchise out. Um, but yeah, if this is where the world ends, if this is where the world ends for that franchise, I would not be sad by that. And then lastly, the Blair Witch Project remake. um, so again, perhaps controversial opinion. I do not like the Blair Witch Project whatsoever. I don't find it particularly scary or engaging in the slightest. And as I've already said, I don't overly love found footage. This is a film that, for all its reputation, I just found to be 90 minutes of people standing in a wood being confused. And it did nothing for me in the slightest. Um, I went to see Blair Witch, the sort of soft sequel, reboot sequel, when that came out. That also did nothing for me. This is not something I'm particularly interested in seeing at all. And this is not something that needs to be a franchise. The original really wanted to be a one and done, and I think that is probably where I would leave it. Um, so head back to the start then. So there's a 20. I didn't know a bunch of these films were coming out. Have you seen anything there that is particularly exciting for you? Please do let me know. I would love to hear all your views about. Are they these films you're looking forward to see? Are there franchises you want to see revitalized, or franchises that you want to see finally be put to rest? Um, so if there are any videos or things you'd like me to react to, any videos you'd like me to make, please do comment below as well. Otherwise, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, ring a bell so you know when new videos are coming. Thank you very, very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.